for a cup of chow. So you want to do your own loft conversion. Well, what's it going to take? How long is it going to take? How much cash is it going to cost you? I'm going to try and keep this as brief as I can, but there's a lot to get through. So let's talk about process steps. So what we did to begin with is we measured up the space that we had up here. We were fortunate that we had a room up here already, but the staircase was illegal and it only used about 30% of the available space. So if we are going to increase the size of the bedroom up here, we had to change the staircase at the same time. If we moved that staircase out, it meant that we could have a ensuite downstairs, because this is a 6-bedroom house and it's only got 1 bathroom. So we could introduce a second bathroom without losing any space, and we're going to add the staircase on the top of the stairs currently. So we measured up, we got a piece of paper out and we scribbled and scribbled. We made up some little plaques the right size of a bed and a bathroom and stuff and shuffled them around the drawing that we did, and we got our own great idea of what we wanted to do. At that point we engaged an architect. So why do you need an architect? Well, a couple of reasons if I'm honest. Number one, in the UK you can convert a loft so long as under permitted development rights, as long as you don't break a few rules. It's not too big, you're not overlooking somebody else's property at the front, you don't go higher. Fundamentally, other than that, you don't need planning permission to do it, you can just do it. But you do need building controls, you need to satisfy building regulations. And for that, you're going to have to submit a drawing to them. And what they're going to want to see is, what does it look like now? What's it going to look like in the future? What materials are you going to be using? So we engaged a architect that we found on Checker Trade, and he did a great job, and including the fee that we had to pay to the council for building control, it was about £1,500, and that's cheap, trust me, that's really cheap. But at that point he then submitted that into building control and we could apply for planning permission. We engaged the architect in around about November, submitted to building control towards the end of November, early December, and we got response from them early January to say you need a structural engineer's calcs. So we had to engage separately a structural engineer. He cost us £600. And what he produced is essentially the drawing that we worked from. So he didn't give us the calcs, he gave us a drawing. And what this contains is the floor joists, the ceiling rafters, the reinforcings that we have to have from a structural point of view to make this okay. So your council will accept a chartered structural engineer's input above their own. You can do this yourself and submit calcs yourself and they will check them for you. So you can do this yourself. So we were about £2,000, just over £2,000 out of pocket at the point then we could engage some builders. We got a company to quote for this job. This is 35 square metres or 350 square feet. And a company quoted to start from architect, they'll do all the architect drawings themselves, all to a finished loft. What do we mean by finished? I mean plastered, stairs in, plastered, electrical first fix, which means cables are hanging out of walls and ceilings, but not second fix, so they didn't put the sockets on, they didn't put the lights in, and they provisioned water. So I'd have a couple of pipes coming up for hot and cold with valves on, and I'd have a waste pipe going out. They wanted £65,000 for that. £65,000. So we started in November. We got architects and drawings around about January. We engaged a builder who was able to come in March. Beginning of March, he chopped the ceiling out, and then he didn't come back until last week of March for a day, took the roof off, then COVID-19 hit, and he didn't finish until end of April. So we've had almost 2 months of a hole in the ceiling above our stairs. The dust has been incredible, the muck has been incredible. So, what does 350 square feet cost you? Let's talk money. Beams in the floor, insulation, chicken wire for safety, floorboards, round numbers, £2,000. Shop around on timber. The prices that were advertised online is not what I paid because it was such a big order. But this floor, 350 square feet, cost about £2,000. The roof structure, ignoring the dormer and the staircase, so in rafters, reinforcing the rafters, insulation and plasterboard, £3,000. Now, 1,500 of that is the insulation and the plasterboard. List price, £4,500. It is horrifically expensive. So you shop for your insulation. This is all what's called Celotex type material, Kingspan. It's a rigid, it's almost like expanded foam as board. I found a place on eBay that do seconds, and I paid £1,300 for what was going to cost me £4,500. It's been absolutely invaluable. I've had a problem with one board where the plasterboard's popped off slightly, so I just glued it back on and screwed it on. Absolute value for money. So rafter timber, insulated plasterboard, insulation, £3,000. So I've got myself a floor, I've got myself walls, I've got myself ceiling. What's next? Well, I've got stud walls to put in to define the bedrooms and the bathroom. So I've spent 2 on the floor, I've spent 3 on the roof, including the windows and the structural walls at the side. So I'm up to 5. What's next? Staircase. Paid a builder £3,200. So that's got me a windy staircase in and landing, all the handrails and balustrades. The underside is not plasterboarded. It's not properly finished, but it's in and it's a nice staircase. The dormer structure, that's £7,500. So I've got my stairs, but to get the headroom at the headroom at the top of the stairs, I needed a dormer, which is like a thing that comes out of your roof. If your roof's that way and you come out this way with a window on, this structure's a dormer. We needed that. So that was £7,000, and £7,000 paid to a builder, and that included scaffolding, that included taking rubbish away, that included retiling the roof, putting guttering on, basically finishing up. So for £10,800 I got myself a stairwell, stairs and a dormer above, fire door on the side, fire plasterboard. It's not been plastered, but it has been plasterboarded. So for 16 I have got myself a room that's got no electrics, no water, no plastering. So next comes electrics. Now I've had a quote to somebody to come and do the electrics, and it's about £2,000. I can do it myself, including paying somebody to come and commission it, for about £1,000. So I'll be doing it myself. And the other issue on a build like this is electricians like to come in and just put it in before you put the plasterboard up, but because of the mixed nature of what you're building, that's not so easy. Plastering. So I've done my first fix on electrics, which means I've got cables stuck out here and there, no switches, no sockets, but the cable are provisioned. Time to plaster. What's this going to take? I reckon there's 3 days for 2 people to get this done, around about that. So you'd expect to pay about £120 a day for a plasterer and about £80 a day for a labourer. So about £200 a day for a pair of people, and a pair of people should do this in about 3 days, maybe another day for the staircase. So that's about £200 a day. So if you provision £1,000 for plastering, you'll be fine on an area this big. Next, once I've attached all the sockets and stuff and got the electrics going, heat. So what heating have we gone for? We've gone for an air conditioning system because we didn't want to extend the current heating system, which was wet radiators in this property, because the boiler was about at its limits. And a new boiler, you're looking at thousands. I've bought an air conditioning system. I bought it online from a reputable store. They got it delivered. By the time I've paid somebody a couple £100 to get it commissioned, it's going to cost me about £1,000. It's a split system, so I've got 2 units up here which are Wi-Fi controlled, and the main heat exchanger is outside, so it heats and cools, and being in a loft I probably want a cooling function as well. So heating has been £1,000. Plastering is about £1,000. Carpet, I'm going to provision about £1,000 because we want a thick plush carpet to keep the sound down, and then we're on to the bathroom. So I've managed to eat my way through £18,000. And that's got me to the point where I've got a plastered room with electrics. I've got my lights in. I haven't done any painting or decorating, but I've paid for my carpets. And I'm ready to paint. Paint is a few £100 for a room this side, including skirting boards. So £330 I've provisioned for that. And I'm ready to do the bathroom. Now, the bathroom here is going to be a wet room, so I'm going to tank all of the bathroom area, and what that means is you put a membrane or a paint that turns into a membrane. The shower tray is flat with the floor. I've already bought the shower tray, I've already bought the shower equipment. I haven't bought tiles yet, but I've priced them up. So I know that my bathroom is going to be about £3,300. So £1,000 of my bathroom, or just over, is going to be my tiles. So adhesive, grout and tiles. It's quite a big area for tiling. So that's just over £1,000. So just over £2,000 for waste pipes, soil pipes, sink, toilet, really fancy shower screen. Fans and vents and all that kind of stuff is included in that money as well. So 3,300. So what that puts me up to £21,500. What have I got left? That's it. £21,500. So to get a loft room finished, painted, decorated, electrics in, bathroom in, is going to take about 6 months on your own, and it's going to take a room this size £21,500, as opposed to £65,000 without a bathroom and electrics. So call it £75,000 if they did all of that. So I've probably saved myself 50 grand. 50 grand by doing it myself and shopping around for bits. So if you're going to do it yourself, you're going to reduce your costs from about £2,100 per square metre down to just over 700. It is literally a third of the price. So I've assumed 65 grand plus the bathroom plus the electrics are going to charge £75,000. Architect work all the way through to finished. I will have done it myself, paid a builder to do the stairs and the dormer, and I could have done them much cheaper, but paying for that, doing the rest of it myself, I'll be all in 25k including architect and structural fees. So £25,000 has bought me 350 square feet of extra room. Good for building regs. It's going to be super exciting to be up here as a master suite. We've got a couple of £1,000 more to pay on that to put in the fancy wardrobes that we want, but that'll come when we got the money. So I hope you found that useful. Doing it yourself, provision 6 months on a room this size. Doing it yourself, provision 25 grand on a room this size. If I'd have built my own dormer, if I'd have built my own staircase, a staircase kit was just over £1,000 as opposed to 3. The dormer, I know the bits were about 2 grand as opposed to 7 for getting it built, but the roof work would have come on top of that as well, so 3. So I could have maybe saved myself another £3,000 to £4,000 doing that myself, but that would have taken me much longer. So 25 grand as opposed to 70, I've just saved 50 grand. So even if I worked for a year, 50 grand tax free, my value, I've saved 50 grand tax free. With tax, I'd have had to have earned 75, 80k this year in pounds. Call it $100,000. So that's not a bad salary for 6 months. For 6 months. So if I double that and say a year, what does that mean I've earned in a year? I've earned £100,000 worth of a year's salary by doing it myself. Has it added that value to the property though? Has it? Well, we've had a look around, and before COVID-19, all I can say is before COVID-19, we know that we're going to add about £60,000 to £70,000 value on this property because of the investment we've put into it to create this extra room, and when we do the bathroom downstairs. The extra bathroom downstairs is about 2.5k.